Okay, first game of a new season. There's some new rules coming in, gotta keep it clean, make sure I don't foul anyone. But I've got to put this tackle in here. That's a foul. Yellow card, player. Oh, come on, ref. I barely touched him. You know what happens now when you get a yellow card. Rules are rules, nothing I can do about it. Enjoy watching from the sidelines. This is football's most brutal rule change, and I've just added it to Football Manager. Every yellow or red card ends a player's season instantly. So what happens when the biggest teams lose their stars after just one mistake, and do the underdogs finally rise? Or does the football world just descend into chaos? So here we are, one day before the start of the new Premier League season. Usually filled with excitement, but for some players on these teams, they might not even kick a ball this season and get suspended for the entirety of it. So I'm just going to simulate a couple of days to go past this first match day. We're going to come back and see the chaos that unfolds on just the first day of the season. So there was one direct red card on the first day of the season. It's Ben Davies for Tottenham Hotspur here, so we'll investigate this first. He was sent off in the 84th minute, and I've just spotted this. He was subbed on in the 83rd. Genuinely, he might not have even touched the ball. Ben Davies is now waiting to come on the pitch. The clock is at 82:19, so let's say he comes onto the pitch at 82:25. He heads the ball there, so that's one touch of the ball that he's got here, but Spurs then lose it, and that is one of the worst challenges I've ever seen. Oh my word, he kung fu kicks him. Why was he so riled up like that? Oh my word, Manchester United got 3 yellow cards in their first game. Palace with 2, Everton with 2, Wolves with 2. Man United already in the mud. Oh, it was a disaster on all fronts. They were 2-0 up, Manchester United, and then with 18 minutes to go, Konsa scores, they give away a penalty, Tielemans scores in the 96th minute to win the game, and then Luke Shaw gets himself booked. If we click on Luke Shaw now, Premier League ban until the 18th of the 5th, 2025, that's the end of the season. The worst part is he's actually got to play the rest of his match, knowing this is the last time he's ever going to play this season. If we sort the team based on current ability, it's their 4th, their 6th, and their 8th best player in the team according to current ability. Now remember, this is FM24's database, which essentially dates back to the start of the 23-24 season. It's out of date now. There's no way you'd say Luke Shaw is the 4th best player in Manchester United's team these days. Although they are pretty bad, so maybe he would be. I've just been checking the yellow cards here as well, and some of them are horrendously timed. Check Decore, 97th minute yellow card, out for the season. Kirkes, who is still at Bournemouth on this, is out in the 95th minute. That's horrible. 86th minute here for Nikola Milenkovic at Nottingham Forest. Obviously, referees are a lot more on it later on in games, so that's when we're going to see these tiny little mistakes become critical. We're only one game into the Premier League season, though. Of course, the EFL has been going on for a little bit longer. I say longer, they've played 2 games in the Championship. Great. But QPR already up to 4 yellow cards in those games. Millwall on 3, Sunderland on 3, as are Watford and Wickham. In League One, Northampton have got 6 yellow cards in 2 games. If they're not relegated, I don't know what's going to happen there. That's crazy. League 2, Harrogate also on 6. They better get relegated. Rochdale on 7 in the National League. And they've already got a pretty small team as it is. If we sort it by current ability, their best player is out. Their 5th best player, 6th best player, 7th best player is injured. And they're lucky that 3 guys suspended here are like not in their best players, but still. And what's going to happen here is teams are going to be forced to play their youth team until they get yellow cards and get suspended, at which point the game will just start bugging out a little bit, and it will start playing fake players because they've got to field 11 players on the pitch. So these fake players are always terrible, but they've got to use them. So I'm going to jump forward just a couple of months, and I want to see how much chaos has been caused in just like 2 months or so. Although it doesn't seem like too much chaos has been caused just yet. We're 7 games into the Premier League season. It's the 4th of October, and Man City are top of the table with Liverpool in 2nd place, which doesn't feel very dissimilar to real life. It feels like there's more teams in the correct position than not in the correct position, if I'm honest with you. The one team here that is defying expectations is Bristol City, because they're in the Premier League when they shouldn't be. When you update a database in Football Manager with real results, you can update leagues correctly. You just can't do anything about the cups or the playoffs, so they are all completely randomized. So in this instance, when I loaded up the save file, Bristol City were the team that were granted the win in the playoffs. So that's why they're in the Premier League. Oh, poor Everton. In 7 games, they've got 14 yellow cards. Forest with 13, Burnley with 12. Man United actually have done well to only have 6 more players yellow carded in the next 6 games. That's 1 a game, better than the 3 a game they were going to get. Oh, Everton. This is quite painful to look at here. If we just sort it by position and go the other way around, you can see... Oh, it's literally so many of their top players as well. So yeah, I do think we are going to be seeing Everton relegated. Sorry, Toffees. In terms of the worst teams, though, Huddersfield, 22 yellow cards, with Barnsley as well, 21. These two have got to be favourites of relegation now. Oh, look at that first team. Look at all the suspensions they've got. Oh my word. Like, they've not got a full 11 actually starting here. And if we go to the tactics, this is what I mean about greyed out players here. So this guy playing left back here, everyone's name's in white apart from this guy who's greyed out because he's not a real person. Okay, it's now Christmas and Man City's still top of the table as it stands right now, ahead of Liverpool, Tottenham and Brentford. So really, there's not a massive change in the Premier League right now. Interesting to note the top scorers, Haaland with 20 and 18, Nunez with 13 and Evan Nilsson with 10. So Haaland not suspended but does need a rest because he's playing every single minute of every single game, I imagine. There is a huge spread in the yellow cards though. So Burnley, Everton, Bristol City, 36, 36, 34, Forest on 34 as well. And that just must be their entire squad. Incredibly, there are actually still first team players available to Burnley. Neither keeper, Trafford or Etienne Green, have got yellow cards. They're fine. Aaron Ramsey is okay. Lyle Foster is also okay. And they are not enjoying it. Look at their form. Oh, they've won 2 games all season against Leeds and Villa. And oh, dear me. Burnley are bottom. Everton just avoiding the drop. Bristol City actually up in 14th, defying the odds right now. Look at this Sheffield United team. Everyone is suspended. Shockingly, though, it is not Sheffield United with the most yellow cards. They've only got 32, actually. Oxford United have 42 yellow cards. I actually heard a lot of their yellow cards have come because their players aren't subscribed to the TomFM channel. If you're not subscribed, you get a yellow card and a season ban. So make sure you subscribe right now so you do not get banned. Oh yeah, this is bad for Oxford United. Somehow they're not the worst team in the Championship despite having 42 suspensions, which is hilarious. Incredibly though, Barnsley have the most yellow cards in League One, this is. I could ramble about this for so long, but let's get to the end of the season and see what's happened. So this is the Premier League table after 37 games. I am aware if I press continue and go past the last game of the season, all the suspensions are going to clear. So we want to see the teams, what they look like with suspension. So there is a bit of a title race between Man City and Chelsea. We'll see who wins that in a second. There's also a chance for Bristol City to save themselves from relegation against Nottingham Forest. If Forest lose and Bristol City win by a massive goal margin, you know, anything's possible in this database at the moment. Because Erling Haaland has 58 Premier League goals this season. And that's what I mean by anything is possible. Because quite frankly, if you are able to avoid a yellow card, you're laughing at this point playing against like all the fake players that Football Manager is forced to put out on the pitch. My assumption though would be that Burnley, Everton and Bristol City are the top 3 in terms of number of yellow cards. And it's Bristol City number 1, Everton number 2, Forest in 3rd, they just avoid relegation. Palace have done well to escape things, and then Burnley in 5th. Although there's a huge difference in the number of yellow cards, actually, from 54 to 75 for Bristol. What? That's 28. That does not account for 75 players. The greyed out players, of course. Man United do manage to avoid the drop by 7 points in the end. Onana, Shea Lacey, Alfie Walker, Ashton Missing, what a name that is. Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund, by the way, both avoiding yellow cards for the entire season. And crucially, both being terrible still. How's Erling Haaland scoring 58 goals in the Premier League and in the same time, actually having played more games, Zirkzee has only got 14 goals? The season will have finished now pretty much in the lower leagues. Wrexham have gone down, and Oxford, who we said at one point had like a million yellow cards, were going to go down. They have gone down there, so I feel justified in that. That does support the hypothesis that the more yellow cards you get, you are just going to go down. They actually got the most, 76 in the end there, but Swansea, West Brom and Sheffield United United were the next teams there. Sheffield United did avoid relegation. West Brom finished 19th in the end, and then Swansea finished 20th, both avoiding relegation. Okay, League One, Barnsley 77, Northampton 76, Huddersfield 60, Notts County 59. Again, Notts County are part of that sort of playoff glitch there going up. So I predict those 4 are the teams that are going down. Barnsley, Northampton, Huddersfield, Notts County, Notts County, Bradford City, yeah, the exact 4. League 2, Crewe and Gillingham with the most yellow cards there. So are Crewe and Gillingham going to be the 2 teams that get relegated? Crewe are. Gillingham avoid relegation. It's Tranmere who go down in 24th. How many cards did they get? Only 43. They're like suddenly mid-table there in terms of cards, but they've not gone down. Before we go into the future a little bit more to see more of a long-term effect, there's one last thing I want to look at in Season 1. These are the referees this season in the Premier League. So giving out the most yellow cards is Tim Robinson. He gave out 85 yellow cards and 3 reds in 25 matches. Very happy with that yellow card trigger there. Surprisingly, referees in Football Manager do actually have hidden attributes that have their tendencies for how many yellow cards they like to give out and things like that. I didn't change any of that data. I just wanted to see what these referees would do ordinarily. And this is where it could get very interesting, because if Tim Robinson, for example, if he refereed tons of Burnley games and gave Burnley all the yellow cards, and did we say Man City didn't get too many yellow cards? So we can click into Tim Robinson actually, and we can see his most recent 10 games that he's done. And actually, there's a whole mix here. He gave out 5 yellow cards in Sheffield Wednesday versus Swansea. He gave out 5 yellows in Crystal Palace versus Chelsea as well. How many yellow? It was 4 to Palace. So Palace have really been done over here by this referee. If we look at Michael Oliver, for example, sort his yellow cards out here. World Cup games don't actually count in this, and neither the Europa League or Champions League games actually. So it's just the Premier League games we're looking at here. But 2 yellow cards there in Villa Brentford. A couple of yellow cards here in games against like Man United and Wolves and stuff. So I was kind of hoping we'd get a bit more data here on the referees, and it might say he's refereed 8 Manchester United games this season and gave out like 3 yellow cards in that time, whereas a different referee would manage, I don't know, 8 Palace games and give out 14 yellow cards. Right, time for the long-term view. I left this simulating overnight and it got to the 15th of October 2038, which in-game is 15 seasons into the future. We're at the start of season 15. This is the Premier League, and I'll be honest, it's not actually that wild, really, in the grand scheme of things. Exeter feel like the only real shock here, and that's a shame, I'll be honest with you. And already we're seeing signs that like Chelsea are top, Arsenal, Man City, Villa, top 4 as well. And it's kind of reflected in the past winners, although the past winners have been quite fun in terms of it's not really been the same teams over and over again. Like Bournemouth have been in there, Newcastle are in there. It does seem to be a little bit more random, but it's random within what you might expect the sort of like top 7 teams to look like, and any of that top 7 can win, for example. There's Bournemouth and maybe the odd one out there. West Ham maybe the odd one out a little bit, potentially. But, you know, they've had decent seasons in recent years, getting to Europe and things like that. And I don't think Bournemouth in real life are actually too far off that either. FA Cup is the usual winners. I thought we were going to see like some huge, bizarre shock winners of the FA Cup because of all the randomness going on. And if one team in League 2 gets lucky and gets to keep all their players because they've been so disciplined, they'd make the FA Cup final. It's not happened. It's not happened in the Carabao Cup either. Frustratingly. FA Trophy is a little bit more fun maybe, on the grounds that really there's in Football Manager there's not a whole lot of difference across all the non-league divisions. Macclesfield winning it here would be bizarre if they're not a League 2 club right now a few seasons later, so it's not like they've won it from their position in real life right now, which is step 4 I think they're in. Oh, that's a real shame. I was really hoping this would really like just mess things up massively, but I think the reality of it is it turns out that every team gets players suspended all the time, and so everyone has to play grayed out players, which are just fake template players to just make sure the team's got a starting 11. However, I have another idea where instead of giving players year-long suspensions for a yellow card, every single injury a player could possibly get results in them being injured for 365. It could be a cold, out for a year. It could be a broken leg, out for a year. So leave a like on the video if you want to see that, because that's another idea I had, and I think that could be more wild in the long term. So whilst you wait for that video to potentially come out, how about you go and watch this one, where I took charge of a mystery club at the Club World Cup. I was given a mystery box and I had to play as the team I got in that box. However, I was not allowed to stop playing Football Manager until I won the Club World Cup with that team. And as you'll find out in the video The team was not good. I was sat there for a long time playing Football Manager. To find out just how long and how many attempts it took me, click the thumbnail on screen right now, give that video a watch and enjoy.